So I started my fitness journey back in 2022, and I actually started in a karate gym. I started training at this karate place, and they sort of had like a weight section. So I would sort of go there and I would train. And so I would basically go there, and I sort of wasn't really all that consistent at first. Like I would go 3 days per week and shit. Like I wasn't that fucking serious about it. Obviously, like about 6 months later, I think I sort of started to want to improve myself when it came to the weights. And so I started going 6 days per week, and I started to sort of try, you know, to put on some mass. So I started bulking and I started eating more and all this shit. And within about 4 months of starting that, I gained roughly around 10 kilograms of muscle. And obviously, like back then, I sort of, like before I went through all this, I was sort of like getting bullied in school. I had a whole bunch of different issues. I had really toxic friends who would also bully me, aside from my bully group. It was just some fucked up shit. And obviously, I sort of would run to the gym to escape from this shit. And so I would basically, I ended up putting 10 kilograms of muscle. So then after that, I basically moved to another gym and I continued the bulk there. So this one was what, like an actual gym. It wasn't like a karate gym, but it was like a real gym. And so I sort of started training there, and I actually ended up reaching by the end of that bulk to around 80 kilograms. And obviously, like I cut down, that I bulked up again, and I cut down, and I bulk up, and I cut down, bulk up, all this shit, till I eventually, by the start of this year, 2026, I reached around 94 kilos. And so in my whole fitness journey, I gained around what is it, like 32, 34 kilograms of muscle. Well, it's not probably not all muscle because I still got a decent amount of body fat on me. And so, I'm cutting at the moment, but it's still pretty freaking crazy to me, the amount of progress that I've made in like fucking 4 years. The reason I mention this is because people think that making so much progress in the gym is so unrealistic and you should never give people unrealistic expectations. And 4 years, like in 4 years, you're only supposed to have put on 20 kilograms of muscle. It's like, that's simply not true. You can put on a boatload of muscle, bro, and you don't even fucking know it. And so just get these fucking mindsets that these fitness influencers who don't want you to improve tell you, because they don't want any fucking competition. They don't want more people getting jacked. The fitness industry is already fucking so freaking big, and there's so many freaking people coming already that they want to stop more fucking people coming in. And so they just try and demotivate people. They tell people, oh, it'll take you 4 years to put on 20 kilograms of muscle, so just give up, stop going to the gym. Or go to the gym, but just don't do anything, don't bulk up. Oh, be careful from dirty bulking. And it's like, in reality, the very things that they are telling you are wrong are the things that will get you bigger and stronger. When they tell you don't fucking ego lift, stick to your form, that's exactly the very thing that will keep you weak. So that you won't fucking progress in the gym, so you'll fucking quit in the next 6 months. Versus if you fucking ego lifted, yeah, sure, maybe, like a fucking 100 maybes that you might fucking get a small tweak and an injury that'll last fucking a week or something. Or you'll just get fucking hella strong. And the reality is, I've never once met a person who actually got injured from ego lifting. Never. And I've been ego lifting for 4 years. Never have I gotten injured from ego lifting. That's just fucking personal experience. But obviously, it's not just ego lifting. It's also dirty bulking. It's also all these different things. When was the last time you actually saw someone who dirty bulked, who actually, like people always like to fucking mention Jeff Seed, and they're like, yeah, like Jeff Seed, he lost his physique and he got really fat. Yeah, and then he cut down. He didn't lose his physique. He didn't lose anything. He just fucking ate a whole bunch and now he needs to cut down. Yeah, what's wrong with that? And especially as a natural, when you are a natty, you need to fucking use every advantage you possibly can. And when you sort of learn about dirty bulking, basically making you gain more fucking muscle, then you're going to fucking dirty bulk because it'll give you more fucking muscle than you clean bulking. So why would you clean bulk? You already need as much muscle mass as possible, so might as well fucking take the option that will get you bigger. Now, also, the other thing is, so what if you gain more fat? You're cutting anyway. Whether you cut on a clean bulk or a dirty bulk, you're going to cut eventually. And so might as well gain as much as possible. And so, obviously, these are just fundamental things I like to mention because people often get offended later on in the video when I fucking mention these things. Because people like the pussy advice and they like all this bullshit of, you don't have to work so hard. But it's like, obviously, you have to fucking ego lift. You have to do these things. And so an important mindset just before we sort of get into this is you always want to go in it for the long run. Start going to the gym and, basically literally say this to yourself. I will never quit the gym. Because the amount of people who go to the gym and they're like, oh, I just want to achieve my dream physique. Once I get my dream physique, I'll just quit. Well, what's the point? You achieved your dream physique and now you're just going to let it slowly like fucking disappear and just go back to normal without all the weight training. You're not even going to fucking try and maintain it. And it's like, that's exactly the way people think. Oh, the moment I lose this weight, I'll be happy. But it's like, that's just simply not the fucking way you're supposed to be thinking. You're supposed to think, I will keep going to the gym. I will always try and progress for the rest of my life. Till I die, I'll try and always fucking progress and I'll stay in the gym and I'll be the 70-year-old who's fucking in the gym training hard. And so this is the true mindset of consistency. If you want to ensure that you will be consistent, then have this mindset. And don't just say it, like actually fucking believe it. Because that's the fucking main thing that will keep you on this path. That no matter what happens, I will always show up to the gym. And it's a mindset that has truly saved me. Because when I first sort of got into the gym, I was like, yeah, like, I don't know. It's like all these fitness influencers are talking about, it took me 10 years to gain 20 kilograms of muscle and whatever. Like, I'm not sure about that. So it's all complete bullshit. Don't believe them. If you want to fucking get big, you can get big. But you have to fucking do the necessary shit to fucking get there. And so just as a final note, don't ever fucking skip a day. Don't, miss a day. Like, actually fucking make sure that you're consistent because that's the most important thing. If you feel lazy, it don't fucking matter. We go to the gym anyway. It's just, that's the way you should think. And if you're really feeling that lazy, then just simply fucking turn your brain off. And fucking go to the gym. It shouldn't be that hard. So let's get on with action steps. How do we train and how do we train hard? And so training hard simply goes down to adding as much basically factors as possible. If you can add more reps, if you can add more sets, if you can add more exercises, if you can add more set types, if you can add more rep types, if you could add more fucking weight. And it's like, that's why I mentioned ego lifting at the start of this video, because weight is one of the easiest ways to actually freaking intensify your workout. If you add more weight, and I'm not saying you have to fucking full stack everything, but if you add more weight, you will basically have more fucking hardness in your fucking workout. Your workout will be harder on you because you've added more weight. And so naturally, you won't be able to do as much reps. You won't be able to do as much sets. But that's the whole point. That's why weight works so effectively. Now, obviously, if you don't want to increase the weight and you're really that scared, then you could always increase more reps. You could always increase more sets. You could always increase more exercises. You could always, do drop sets, set types. You could always, do rep types. So you pause the rep, you squeeze the rep, you have certain tempos, And it's like, obviously it sounds really complicated, but it's just simply like, You want to pause the rep, you want to hold it at the stretch, you want to hold it at the contraction, whatever it might be, right? And so you can do a whole bunch of shit to intensify your workout. You just have to figure out what you genuinely enjoy. For me, I've like always for a long time when I first started out, I would enjoy a whole bunch of volume. So I would just add a whole bunch of sets. That was sort of the main thing that I would do. But as I sort of, progressed in my own fitness journey, I started to add a lot more weight and I'd actually reduce the sets. And I would sort of add a whole bunch of reps, as much reps as I possibly could, whilst doing some really heavy fucking weight. And oftentimes that would basically result in me ego lifting because you're doing a whole bunch of reps, you're forcing a lot of reps, and you're using some really heavy weight. And so obviously I have all these fucking rhetorical videos of me ego lifting all over the internet. And, people obviously like to fucking criticize. They're like, oh, this is ego lifting. But it's like, bro, do you see the fucking weight? It's like, duh. If you could fucking lift that weight, you definitely would be ego lifting. If you could do 2 reps. Regardless. The second thing that you'd probably be asking is what training split should you follow? And if you want to basically get big and strong, the best split you should fucking follow is chest the first day, back second day, arms third day, and legs fourth day. And basically just repeat. And every 2 cycles of chest, back, arms, legs, you basically take a rest. So on the 9th day, you would basically take a rest. And the reason why this works so effectively is obviously you're basically like hitting every muscle. It's basically every 8 days, so technically every week. And also, Sam Sulek follows this split, so you need more fucking explanation. Obviously on arms, if your shoulders are lacking, you would add shoulders with arms. And obviously, if you enjoy other splits, you could totally follow them. This is not the only split that works. I just found that this split works with my recovery. It's just sort of what works for me. So the third question, should you bulk or cut? Now, most of the time, the person asking hopes that I'll say cut because they're probably fat. And obviously, if you're fat, you should be cutting. That's probably the answer. But if you're skinny, or you're anything that has to do with skinny, so you're skinny fat, then you have to fucking bulk. And I know this sounds uncomfortable for the skinny fat guys because they think that they need to cut down first because they don't like the way they look and they want the abs. But trust me, bro, even if you fucking cut down, you won't have abs. That's just simply the case. You're not going to have abs. And so bulk up first, build the abs, train abs and do whatever you want because I know you want abs. And bulk up, put on some genuine muscle mass, and then you can cut down. This is the better way of doing things. If you're going to, decide to do something else, then that's on you. But because I know, because I used to be skinny fat before all this, and I actually cut down first, and I actually ended up getting really sick at that time because I got a whole bunch of nutrition deficiencies and shit. But, obviously also I just didn't fucking get the result I was looking for because I turned ultra skinny. And so obviously if you're skinny, you should bulk up. If you're skinny fat, bulk up. And if you're fat, then cut down. Okay, so how do you basically go about the bulk or the cut? So bulking, you should always be dirty bulking. I already mentioned this. Dirty bulking is the best way to bulk. So basically just dirty bulk. What dirty bulking means is eat whatever the fuck you can to basically hit your calorie goal. So you will be eating more. Obviously, that's what bulking is. And so try and basically eat as much high calorie foods as possible, whatever you can, to hit your caloric goal. That's sort of the main thing. And obviously for cutting, you especially if you're really fat, and that's only for the really, 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 really fat person. If you're genuinely obese, forget about protein, forget about everything. Just genuinely don't eat. Don't fucking try and eat 500 calories per day. I know that totally sucks, but just genuinely try and do that. And that's only if you're really fat. Now, if you're someone in the middle range and you're like fat, you're still considered fat, but like you're not super fat, then obviously you could sort of focus on protein, like get your protein in, like, sort of get like 120 grams of protein per day. That should probably be more than enough. And basically just try and undereat and sort of like be in like a caloric deficit. So basically just like the amount of calories that would get you to maintain your weight. Like you can figure all these numbers out on MyFitnessPal. Like the moment that you download any calorie tracking app, you will basically just sort of like it'll give you these numbers. So don't really like, it sounds complicated, but trust me, it's not. And so basically you're going to go in a caloric deficit, which means you're basically going to be under eating ever so slightly. And so you have a number of calories that will help you maintain your weight that you unconsciously eat every single day, which is why you're at the same weight you are right now. That basically keeps you at your weight. If you eat less than that, then you will lose weight. And so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. And obviously, if you eat more than that, you end up bulking and you end up gaining more weight, which is sort of the thing that, a skinny person does to get fucking bulky. And so obviously, you probably understand that a very important thing that one needs to do is to start tracking their calories, whether you're bulking or you're cutting. And so the best way to do this, as I mentioned, download an app called MyFitnessPal. It's free and it literally requires nothing. I have no affiliation with them, by the way. It genuinely, they're just like the app that I've just been using ever since I sort of started, and they just work brilliantly. So just fucking, they work. Obviously, you can use other apps. I know MyFitnessPal. That's sort of, what I have been using it for so long. And so basically download this app. And then obviously it'll ask you for a whole bunch of different things like your fitness goals. It'll ask you for your weight, your height, all these different things. And then it'll obviously give you the number of calories you're supposed to eat depending on your goal. Now, obviously, if you're skinny and, you want to bulk up essentially, then the number of calories that it'll give you will be far too low. And so to the number it will give you, you will be adding 1,000 to 2,000 calories. Obviously start with adding 1,000 and then work your way up to adding 2,000. Like slowly 1,000, then 1,200 calories, then 1,500, then 1,700, then 2,000 calories above maintenance, like eating more than like add it to the number that it gave you, all right? And if you're cutting, you want to try and reduce this number every 1 week or 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, aim to reduce the number that it gives you by around 200. So if it gave you 2,200 calories, after 2 weeks of eating this number of calories, reduce it by 200. And obviously, if you're bulking, you'll increase it by 200. But, just try and, if you're bulking, try and eat the 2,000 always, because that will work way more better. And obviously, what's most important is prioritizing the calories. You don't really need to focus on protein that much. Especially if you're bulking, you really don't need to focus on protein. You're going to be eating enough protein. Just focus on hitting the calories. And when you're cutting, you could sort of focus on just getting the bare minimum of 100 grams of protein per day. But most of the time, you're already going to sort of get that. So you don't even need to fucking worry about protein. Just focus on the calories. Now, about recovery. You need to be sleeping pretty well. So around 7 to 8, maybe even 9 hours of sleep to get really good sleep. And the reason sleep's so important here is because you need to be recovering. We're not having a rest day every week. We're having a pretty low amount of rest days. And obviously this is a pretty intense, sort of split that we're following, if you're going to follow it anyway. Obviously, if you're going to follow push-pull legs or anything like that, it'd be even more extreme. And so, it's not going to be any better. So the most important thing is just make sure you actually get your sleep. The more sleep you get, the better. But obviously, don't waste your whole life sleeping. That'd be overkill. And the final thing I'll end off with is if you are considering getting any supplements, always start with pre-workout. Don't fucking get no creatine. Don't get no protein. Focus first. The first thing you ever fucking get is pre-workout. You take pre-workout before your workout and you work out. It will help you to get more fucking intense workouts. This is the most important fucking thing. Forget about creatine, forget about protein. These things come later. These things just come to solve a problem. If you struggle to get the last couple of fucking reps, sure, you could fucking get creatine. If you struggle to hit your protein every single day, you could get protein powder. But like, the most important thing is just the pre-workout. That comes first. And so that's really all there was to it for this video. If you're interested in getting one-to-one help, where I personally help you in your fitness journey or anything regarding self-improvement, I have coaching calls where I basically help you out one-on-one. And so if you're interested, you could basically just DM me on Instagram. And if you're interested in getting more in-depth sort of one-to-one help as like a coaching package, I have a fitness coaching package, which you can also check out, link in the description. And as long as you commit to the work, you'll be getting your results.